So this video is to make up for the fiasco of the atomic math worksheet that we had last week. The format of the worksheet wasn't very friendly, and I apologize for that. So this week instead, we're going to have a quiz on this information. Make sure you complete the quiz. You can retake that quiz up to 20 times until you ace it, so please do that. This worksheet is all about reading the periodic table. And so let's go over that really quick. First thing you want to know is that these letters that are in the middle of each of these boxes represent the symbol of an element. H stands for hydrogen. Underneath the symbol there is the name, helium. So last week what I was hoping you guys would do is that you would type, right in this blank that this is the symbol. This is the element name. Okay. And then there's two numbers that you need to know, and they'll tell you how many protons, neutrons, and electrons are in the atom and how much the atom weighs. This first one is the most important. This is the atomic number. And it tells you how many protons there are in the nucleus. Every oxygen atom has 8 protons. That's what identifies it as oxygen. If it had 9 protons in the nucleus, it wouldn't be oxygen anymore, it would be fluorine. If it only had 7 protons in the nucleus, it wouldn't be oxygen anymore, it would be nitrogen. And so if we look back on our periodic table here, you'll notice they're in order going from left to right, top to bottom, for the most part till we get to the bottom anyway, by the number of protons they have. So hydrogen, atomic number 1, means it has 1 proton. Helium, atomic number 2, means it has 2 protons. Lithium, atomic number 3, 3 protons. Then 4 for beryllium, 5 for boron, 6 for carbon. And as you look through your periodic table, that's the first number that you'll notice. And it's telling you how many protons are in the nucleus. It also identifies the atom for you. So if I were to say, on a quiz question, what element has 48 protons? Well, you'd look at your periodic table, find number 48, and realize that is cadmium. Or if I were to say, okay, what element has 22 protons? Well, you'd find 22 on the periodic table and find out that that is titanium. Okay. The other number you need to be aware of is the atomic mass. That's at this bottom number here. It tells you how much the atom weighs. Mass, not... Okay, atomic mass tells you how much that the atom weighs. And so the units for... Stupid alarm, sorry about that. Protons, remember, atoms are super, super small, so we wouldn't measure them in grams or anything. They have their own unit called atomic mass units. Protons and neutrons are about the same weight, and they weigh approximately 1 AMU. Neutrons also weigh 1 AMU, and electrons, even though they do weigh, they're so small compared to the neutrons and protons. Here in 8th grade, we're just going to round those down to 0. Okay. Again, technically neutrons are a little bit bigger than protons. We're going to round them both to 1, and electrons are rounded to 0. So what this atomic mass number tells us is how many protons plus neutrons there are in the nucleus of an atom. So the atomic mass equals the number of protons plus the neutrons in an atom. And then we already mentioned that the atomic number equals the number of protons. It turns out that in a non-anion or cation atom that the protons and the electrons are going to be equal. So that's not quite as important right now. We're going to focus on how many protons there are, but electrons are also pretty important. So we'll come back to that. So let's just fill in this first one. Symbol is O. If we, kind of like our example here, we'll fill in the element name, which is oxygen. Capitalize it because it is a name. The atomic number, we find that up here on the top of each box. So that number is 8. The mass is this bottom number. That's 16. The number of protons, That's what the atomic number tells us, so that is 8. The number of neutrons. Now, the number of neutrons, you got to do a little bit of math. 16 is the number of protons plus neutrons. So we know there are 8 protons. How many neutrons do we add to this to make it weigh 16? So I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully I'm not out of camera, but 8 plus 8 neutrons gives us 16. And then we have the same number of protons and electrons. So in this case, electrons is also going to be 8. Okay. For the next one, we have zinc. Find zinc on the periodic table. Number 30. Number 30 here shows you that the symbol is capital Z, lowercase n. So I'll fill that in. The atomic number is this number on top. That's 30. The mass is the number on bottom, which is 65. Number of protons is the same as the atomic number, so that's 30. Neutrons, this is the hard one. We take our protons plus what? How many neutrons equals 65? Basically 65 minus 30, and we'll get 35. This is the harder one. You got to do a little bit of elementary math, but it's not something that you guys can't handle. And then the number of electrons is always the same as the number of protons. Okay. Let's do lithium next. Lithium is the name. The number is 3. The mass is this number down here, 7. Number of protons is given to us by the atomic number, 3. The neutrons is the protons plus what gives us this weight here, 4. And the electrons is the same as number of protons. Hopefully that helps.